Your emotions are not in control of you. They never have been, but for most people, it feels like they are. They wake up feeling tired, and the day already seems overwhelming. They hit a challenge, and suddenly frustration and doubt creep in. Something goes wrong, and anger takes over. Before they even realize it, their emotions have dictated their actions, their decisions, and ultimately the direction of their life. But here's the truth. You are not your emotions. You are the master of them. Most people go through life reacting. They feel something, and they assume that feeling is a fact. I feel anxious, so there must be something to worry about. I feel unmotivated, so today is going to be a bad day. I feel insecure, so I must not be good enough. But those are all just stories. Stories your mind is telling you. And the moment you recognize that, you take back your power. Your mind is the control center of your entire life. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, every action you take, it all starts in your mind. And the best part, you get to decide what goes on in there. You are not at the mercy of whatever thoughts or emotions happen to show up. You are the one in charge. And when you take control of your mind, you take control of your life. Maybe you had a big win. Maybe you overcame a challenge that once seemed impossible. Maybe you simply woke up one day and decided that nothing was going to stop you. That feeling of power, that confidence, that certainty. It wasn't random. It wasn't luck. It was a state of mind, a state that you created. Now imagine if you could live in that state every single day. Imagine waking up with a sense of purpose, moving through challenges with confidence, and never letting negativity hold you back. That's what happens when you master your mind. It starts with awareness. Most people don't even realize how much control they have. They think their emotions are something that just happened to them like the weather. But emotions don't happen to you. You create them. And if you can create them, that means you can change them. When you feel fear, it's because you are thinking of something as dangerous. When you feel doubt, it's because you are focusing on failure. When you feel anger, it's because you believe something is unfair. But change the thought and you change the feeling. Instead of fear, you can focus on opportunity. Instead of doubt, you can focus on potential. Instead of anger, you can focus on solutions. The emotions don't control you. The meaning you assign to situations does. Every emotion is just energy in motion. And the way to shift your emotions is to shift your energy. Have you ever noticed how hard it is to feel confident when you're slouched over? Breathing shallow and avoiding eye contact? Or how easy it is to feel powerful when you stand tall, breathe deeply, and move with certainty? That's because your body and mind are linked. Change your posture, change your breathing, change the way you move, and your mind will follow. Another key to mastering your mind is breaking the habit of negative thought patterns. Most people don't even realize they're doing it. They wake up and immediately think about what could go wrong. They dwell on past failures. They assume the worst about the future, and then they wonder why they feel stuck. But the truth is, your mind is like a garden. If you plant seeds of doubt, fear, and negativity, that's what will grow. But if you plant seeds of confidence, gratitude, and determination, that's what will grow instead. So how do you take control? How do you stop letting emotions dictate your life? First, you must become aware. Notice when a negative emotion arises. Don't judge it. Don't fight it. Just notice it. Then ask yourself, what am I focusing on? What meaning am I giving the situation? Is this thought serving me? If the answer is no, it's time to shift. Replace the thought with one that empowers you. If you're feeling fear, remind yourself of times you've been strong. If you're feeling doubt, think of all the reasons you can succeed. If you're feeling overwhelmed, take a deep breath and break the challenge into small, manageable steps. Mastering your mind is not about ignoring emotions. It's about understanding them. It's about realizing that emotions are nothing more than signals. If you feel fear, it means your mind is trying to protect you. If you feel frustration, it means you care deeply about something. If you feel lost, it means you are searching for direction. Instead of letting those emotions control you, use them as fuel. Let fear push you toward preparation. Let frustration drive you toward solutions. Let uncertainty guide you to growth. The people who succeed at the highest level, the ones who live with passion, confidence, and purpose, are not the ones who never feel negative emotions. They are the ones who refuse to let those emotions stop them. They feel the fear and they move forward anyway. They feel the doubt and they take action anyway. They feel the frustration and they use it to push themselves harder, because at the end of the day, life is not about what happens to you. It's about what you do with it. It's about how you train your mind to respond. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, remember this: your emotions are not your enemy. They are just energy. And you have the power to direct that energy however you choose. Decide today, right now, that you are the master of your mind. Decide that you will no longer be a slave to negativity, doubt, or fear. Decide that from this moment forward, you will take control of your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions. Because when you master your mind, you don't just change how you feel, you change your entire life. Imagine two people facing the exact same challenge. One sees it as a disaster, a crushing defeat that confirms their worst fears. The other sees it as an opportunity, a lesson, a chance to grow stronger. Why? Perspective. The way you view a situation determines how you feel about it. Your emotions don't come from the event itself. They come from the meaning you attach to it. If you believe something is unfair, you'll feel angry. If you believe something is happening to you rather than for you, you'll feel like a victim. But if you shift your perspective, everything changes. Think about a time in your life when something went wrong. Maybe you lost a job, went through a painful breakup, or faced a major setback. In the moment, it probably felt devastating. But looking back, can you see how it led you to something better? Can you see how it forced you to grow in ways you never would have otherwise? That's the power of perspective. The situation itself didn't change. Your understanding of it did. Most people go through life reacting to whatever happens. If things go their way, they're happy. If things don't, they're miserable. They give all their power to external events. But real strength comes from within. It comes from knowing that no matter what happens, you control the meaning you give it. Imagine waking up and deciding, no matter what happens today, I will find the opportunity in it. I will look for the lesson. I will make it work for me instead of against me. That shift alone is life-changing, because when you train your mind to look for opportunity instead of obstacles, for growth instead of failure, you start seeing solutions instead of problems. And that changes everything. Perspective is what separates the person who feels trapped from the person who feels limitless. Take any great success story, and you'll see this truth in action. Some of the most successful people in history have faced unimaginable hardship, but they didn't let it define them. Instead of seeing obstacles as roadblocks, they saw them as stepping stones. Instead of seeing failure as proof they weren't good enough, they saw it as proof they were growing. Instead of focusing on what they lost, they focused on what they could gain. You have that same power. You just have to decide to use it. One of the biggest traps people fall into is assuming their perspective is reality. But your perspective is just one version of reality, one way of looking at the world. And if that perspective is making you feel stuck, powerless, or afraid, then it's time to change it. Because the truth is, you can't always control what happens to you, but you can always control how you see it. Think about a situation that's been causing you stress or frustration. Now, ask yourself, what else could this mean? Instead of assuming the worst, what if this challenge is actually setting you up for something better? What if it's making you stronger, preparing you for something bigger, forcing you to grow in ways you wouldn't have otherwise? When you start looking at life this way, something amazing happens. Suddenly, setbacks don't feel like the end of the world. Rejection doesn't feel personal. Challenges don't feel overwhelming. Instead, you start to see everything as part of a bigger picture, a journey that is shaping you into the person you're meant to become. There's a story about a farmer whose horse runs away. His neighbors say, "Oh, what bad luck." But the farmer simply replies, "Maybe." A few days later, the horse returns with a group of wild horses. The neighbors now say, "Wow, what great luck." Again, the farmer replies, "Maybe." Later, the farmer's son tries to tame one of the wild horses and breaks his leg. The neighbors say, "That's terrible." The farmer responds, "Maybe." Soon after, the army comes through the village recruiting young men for war, but they pass over the farmer's son because of his injury. What great luck, the neighbors say. And again, the farmer replies, maybe. The lesson, nothing is good or bad. It's all about perspective. What seems like a curse today could be a blessing tomorrow. What seems like a failure now could be the foundation for your biggest success. The key is to train your mind to see the bigger picture, to stop labeling things as bad or unfair and start asking, how can I use this? How can I grow from this? How can I make this work for me? Because when you do that, you stop feeling like life is happening to you and start realizing that life is happening for you. Another powerful way to shift your perspective is through gratitude. When you focus on what's missing, on what's wrong, on what's unfair, you create suffering. But when you focus on what you have, on what's possible, on what you can control, you create power. Gratitude isn't just about being thankful for the good things. It's about learning to appreciate the struggles too. It's about realizing that even the hardest moments are shaping you into something greater. Perspective isn't about pretending that bad things don't happen. It's about choosing to see beyond them. It's about refusing to be a victim of circumstance. It's about deciding that no matter what happens, you will find a way forward, because life will always throw challenges your way, but how you see those challenges, that's up to you. And once you master your perspective, you master your emotions. You master your decisions. You master your life. Because when you shift the way you see the world around you begins to shift too. Negativity is not just a feeling, it's a pattern. It's a cycle that plays out in your mind and body over and over again until it becomes automatic. You wake up feeling off, and before you know it, one negative thought leads to another. Maybe something small goes wrong in your morning, and suddenly your entire day feels like a struggle. You start focusing on everything that isn't working, replaying past failures, worrying about the future, and before you even realize it, negativity is taking control. The problem is that most people don't even notice when they're stuck in this pattern. It becomes their normal state. They assume that feeling stressed, overwhelmed, or frustrated is just the way life is, but it's not. It's just a pattern they've reinforced so many times that their brain now defaults to it. And if you don't break that pattern, it will shape your entire life. The good news is that negativity is not something you're stuck with. It's a habit. And like any habit, it can be broken, but it won't happen by accident. You have to disrupt the cycle. You have to take control and force your mind and body to shift. Because the truth is, your emotions don't just happen, they follow patterns. If you always respond to stress with frustration, if you always replay negative thoughts, your brain will keep doing it automatically until you stop it. So how do you break the pattern of negativity? The first step is awareness. You have to catch yourself in the moment. Notice when your mind starts spiraling, when your body tenses up, when your emotions start pulling you into a dark place. The moment you become aware of it, you already have power over it. Because now, instead of being controlled by negativity, you have the ability to change it. One of the fastest ways to disrupt negativity is by changing your physiology. Your body and mind are directly connected. And when you shift one, the other follows. Think about what happens when you feel negative. Your body slumps, your breathing becomes shallow, your energy drops. Now imagine doing the opposite. Stand up tall, take a deep, powerful breath, move with energy. Shake out the tension in your body. Do something unexpected. Jump up, shout something empowering. Take a cold shower. Go for a run. The goal is to break the physical state that's feeding your negative emotions. Because when you move differently, you feel differently. Another powerful way to break the cycle is by taking control of your focus. Negativity thrives when you focus on what's wrong, what's missing, what's out of your control. But the moment you shift your focus to solutions, to gratitude, to what's possible, the negativity loses its grip. Your brain can't hold two conflicting emotions at the same time. You can't feel grateful and angry at the same time. You can't feel confident and fearful at the same time. So the key is to consciously redirect your focus. Ask yourself, what's good about this? What can I learn from this? What's one small thing I can do right now to make this better? Even the act of asking those questions shifts your mind into a different state. Negativity is also reinforced by the words you use. the way you talk to yourself. The language you use in your mind and out loud shapes your emotions. If you constantly tell yourself, this is horrible, I'm so overwhelmed, I can't handle this, your brain takes that as truth. But what if you change the words? What if instead of saying, I'm stuck, you said, I'm figuring this out? What if instead of this is impossible, you said, this is a challenge and I love challenges? Words create emotions and emotions drive action. So if you want to break negativity, start by changing the way you speak, both to yourself and to others. Another way to disrupt negative patterns is to stop feeding them. Every time you dwell on a negative thought, you're reinforcing it. Every time you complain about something, you're strengthening that pattern in your brain. But what if, instead of complaining, you forced yourself to find a solution? What if, instead of replaying a negative situation in your mind, you interrupted it with something positive? Imagine if every time you started to feel negativity creeping in, you made yourself think of 3 things you're grateful for. Imagine if every time you started to feel overwhelmed, you took one small action instead of shutting down. These small shifts might seem insignificant, but over time, they completely rewire your brain. It's also important to be mindful of what you expose yourself to. Negativity isn't just internal, it's external too. If you constantly surround yourself with negative people, consume negative news, engage in conversations that drain you, it's going to be a lot harder to break the pattern. You have to protect your energy. That doesn't mean ignoring reality, but it does mean being intentional about what you allow into your mind. Seek out positivity, read empowering books, listen to inspiring people, spend time with those who lift you up, because the more positivity you surround yourself with, the easier it becomes to shift away from negativity. And finally, take action. Nothing breaks negativity faster than movement. When you sit in negativity, when you overthink, when you stay stuck in your mind, it grows stronger. But the moment you take action, even a small step, you take back control. If you're feeling stuck, do something. Anything. Clean your space. Go for a walk. Call someone who inspires you. Take one step toward a goal. Because motion creates emotion. When you start moving forward, negativity loses its grip. Breaking the pattern of negativity isn't about pretending that bad things don't happen. It's about refusing to let them define you. It's about realizing that no matter what is happening around you, you always have the power to change what's happening inside you. Negativity is just a habit. And like any habit, it can be broken. The question is, will you choose to break it? Will you choose to take back control? Because the moment you decide to, everything changes. Your mind and body are connected in ways most people never fully understand. Every emotion you feel is linked to how you move, how you breathe, how you hold yourself. If you want to change the way you feel, one of the fastest, most effective ways to do it is by changing your physiology. Most people believe that emotions come first, that you feel sad, so you slouch. You feel tired, so you move slowly. But in reality, it often works the other way around. The way you use your body sends signals to your brain, telling it how to feel. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how difficult it is to feel confident when you're hunched over, staring at the ground, taking shallow breaths? Or how hard it is to feel depressed when you stand tall, take a deep breath, and move with energy? That's because the body and mind are constantly feeding off each other. If you feel tired, you move like you're tired. But if you start moving with power and purpose, your energy rises. If you feel defeated, your shoulders drop, your breathing becomes slow and shallow. But if you change that posture, your state instantly begins to shift. Your body is like a switchboard for your emotions. When you learn to control it, you learn to control your state. This is why top athletes, performers, and leaders all use their physiology to create confidence and energy. They don't wait to feel good to move powerfully. They move powerfully to feel good. They don't wait to feel confident to stand tall. They stand tall to feel confident. They don't wait for motivation to take action. They take action. And the motivation follows. The easiest way to experience this for yourself is to try a simple experiment. If you're feeling sluggish, instead of grabbing another cup of coffee, try changing your body. Stand up, stretch your arms wide, breathe deeply from your diaphragm, and move your body with intensity. If you do this for just 2 minutes, you'll notice a shift. Your heart rate will rise, your mind will become more alert, and suddenly you'll feel more awake and engaged. Your body changed, and that changed everything. Breathing is another key factor in controlling your state. Most people breathe shallowly, especially when they're stressed. Shallow breathing signals to your brain that you're in danger, keeping you in a state of anxiety or tension. But when you take deep, controlled breaths, you send a completely different message. You activate your parasympathetic nervous system, the part of your body responsible for relaxation and recovery. That's why deep breathing techniques are used in meditation, yoga, and peak performance training. When you master your breath, you master your state. Posture is just as important. Look at the way confident, successful people carry themselves. Their shoulders are back, their chest is open, their head is high. They take up space. Now look at someone who's struggling, feeling insecure or overwhelmed. Their body is small, collapsed inward. They make themselves smaller. The difference isn't just psychological, it's physiological. Studies have shown that holding a powerful posture for just 2 minutes can actually increase testosterone, the hormone associated with confidence and strength, and decrease cortisol, the hormone associated with stress and anxiety. That means your body isn't just reflecting how you feel, it's actively creating it. Another powerful way to use physiology to change your state is through movement. When you're stuck in a negative emotion, move your body. Go for a run, lift weights, dance, jump up and down. Do anything that gets your body engaged. Movement creates momentum, and momentum is what gets you out of a stuck emotional state. This is why exercise is one of the most effective ways to combat stress, anxiety, and depression. It's not just about endorphins. It's about breaking the physical state that keeps you trapped in negative emotions. Sound also plays a role in shifting your state. Think about the way you speak when you're excited versus when you're feeling down. Excited people speak faster, louder, with more energy. People who are feeling defeated speak softly, slowly, with less intensity. If you want to feel more confident, change your tone of voice. Speak with more energy, with more power. It's impossible to feel weak when you're speaking with strength. This is why shouting something empowering like yes or let's go can instantly change how you feel. Your voice isn't just expressing your emotions, it's shaping them. Even the smallest physical changes can create a massive impact on your state. If you're feeling stuck, shake it out. Literally shake your body, your arms, your legs, your shoulders. It might sound silly, but it works. Animals do this instinctively. When a dog gets scared, it shakes off the energy and moves on. Humans, on the other hand, tend to hold on to negative energy. But if you break that pattern by physically shaking it out, you interrupt the state and shift into something new. Your physiology is your most powerful tool for taking control of your emotions. Most people rely on external factors to change how they feel. They wait for the right circumstances, the right motivation, the right time. But you don't need to wait for anything. You have the ability to change your state in an instant, just by using your body in a new way. If you're feeling tired, move with energy. If you're feeling unmotivated, take deep, powerful breaths. If you're feeling stressed, stretch your body and open up your posture. If you're feeling down, force yourself to smile for a full minute and see what happens. Because when you change your body, you change your mind. And when you change your mind, you change everything. Gratitude and focus are two of the most powerful forces shaping your emotions, your decisions, and ultimately your life. Whatever you consistently focus on, you feel. Whatever you focus on, you move toward. And gratitude is the single most effective way to shift your focus toward what empowers you rather than what drains you. Most people live in a state of reaction, constantly focused on what's wrong, what's missing, or what could go wrong. They wake up and immediately start thinking about their problems, their stress, their to-do list, and before the day has even started, they're already in a negative state. But what if, instead of starting each day with worry, you started with gratitude? What if you trained yourself to focus on what's good, on what's possible, on what you already have instead of what you lack? That one shift alone could change everything. Gratitude isn't just about saying thank you or appreciating the good things in life. It's about rewiring your brain. Your mind is like a filter. And whatever you train it to look for, it will find. If you constantly focus on problems, your mind will always find more problems. If you focus on what's unfair, you'll always feel like a victim. But if you focus on what you're grateful for, you train your brain to look for more things to appreciate. It's not just some feel-good exercise. It's neuroscience. Studies show that regularly practicing gratitude rewires the brain, strengthening the neural pathways that create happiness, resilience, and emotional strength. Think about a time when you felt completely overwhelmed. Maybe you were struggling with work, with a relationship, with a personal challenge. In that moment, all your focus was on what wasn't working, what was hard, what was frustrating. But what if in that same moment you had asked yourself, what is good about this? What am I learning? What do I have right now that I can be grateful for? Your situation wouldn't have changed instantly, but your state would have. And when your state changes, your ability to take action, to solve problems, to move forward completely transforms. Gratitude isn't just a response to good things happening. It's a discipline, a habit, a way of training your mind to focus on what serves you. It's easy to feel grateful when life is going well, but the real power of gratitude comes when you practice it even in the face of challenges, because there is always something to be grateful for. Maybe it's a lesson hidden in a setback. Maybe it's the strength you're building by pushing through a challenge. Maybe it's simply the fact that you woke up today, that you have another chance, that you're still here, still growing, still capable of change. Focus is the other side of the equation. Because gratitude alone isn't enough if your focus is constantly being hijacked by negativity. Most people let their focus be dictated by their circumstances. If something goes wrong, they focus on the failure. If someone criticizes them, they dwell on it for days. If they feel fear, they focus on everything that could go wrong. But focus is a choice. You don't have to let your circumstances dictate where your mind goes. You can take control of your focus, direct it toward what empowers you, and create a completely different reality. One of the biggest mistakes people make is thinking they have to wait for external changes to feel better. They tell themselves, once I have more money, then I'll be happy. Once I'm in a better relationship, then I'll feel fulfilled. Once I reach my goal, then I'll feel successful. But happiness, fulfillment, and success don't come from external circumstances. They come from what you choose to focus on right now. Because no matter how much you achieve, if your mind is trained to focus on what's missing, you'll always feel like something is missing. But if you train your mind to focus on what's already here and what's already good, then success and fulfillment become your starting point, not just your end goal. What you focus on expands. If you focus on problems, they grow in your mind. If you focus on opportunities, you start seeing more of them. If you focus on your weaknesses, they seem bigger than they really are. But if you focus on your strengths, you start to feel more capable, more confident, more in control. Your brain is constantly filtering information, deciding what's important based on what you focus on most. This is why two people can be in the same situation but have completely different experiences. One person sees failure, the other sees a lesson. One person sees an obstacle, the other sees an opportunity. The difference isn't the situation, it's what they're choosing to focus on. Gratitude and focus work together because when you train your mind to look for what's good, your focus naturally shifts away from what's negative. It's not about ignoring problems or pretending challenges don't exist. It's about choosing to direct your energy toward what moves you forward instead of what holds you back. Because whatever you feed grows. Feed fear, and fear grows. Frustration, and frustration grows. But feed gratitude, and gratitude grows. Feed confidence, and confidence grows. One of the simplest and most powerful ways to train your focus is through a daily gratitude practice. Every morning, before you check your phone, before you dive into your day, take a few minutes to list 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be big, just something that reminds you of what's good, what's working, what's possible. And don't just think about them, feel them. Let that gratitude fill you up. Let it shift your state. Because when you start your day with gratitude, your entire mindset changes. You begin to approach challenges with more patience, setbacks with more resilience, and opportunities with more excitement. Another way to take control of your focus is by asking better questions. Your mind is always answering whatever questions you give it. If you ask, why do bad things always happen to me? Your brain will come up with an answer. But if you ask, how can I use this? What's great about this situation? How can I turn this into an advantage? Your brain will start finding answers to those questions instead. The questions you ask determine the focus of your mind, and the focus of your mind determines the quality of your life. Gratitude and focus are not just concepts, they are tools. Tools that allow you to take control of your emotions, your energy, your perspective. Tools that allow you to create the kind of life you want, not just react to the one you have. Every single day you have a choice to focus on what's missing or to focus on what's here, to focus on fear or to focus on possibility, to focus on problems or to focus on solutions. And that choice, repeated over time, determines everything. Because in the end, your life is not shaped by your circumstances, it's shaped by what you choose to see, what you choose to focus on, and what you choose to be grateful for. And when you take control of that, you take control of your entire future. Correction is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It is the great separator between those who dream and those who achieve, between those who talk about change and those who create it. Most people spend their lives waiting for the right moment, waiting for confidence, waiting for motivation. But the truth is, waiting is the enemy of progress. You don't wait to feel ready. You take action, and that action creates readiness. You don't wait to feel confident. You move forward, and confidence is built in the process. The people who achieve the most in life aren't the ones who have the perfect plan or the perfect resources. They are the ones who take massive action despite uncertainty, despite fear, despite not having all the answers. Massive action means going all in. It means moving beyond hesitation, beyond overthinking, beyond excuses. It's about pushing past the limits of comfort and into the zone where real growth happens. Because nothing happens until you move. You can have the best ideas, the biggest goals, the most powerful vision, but without action, none of it matters. The world doesn't reward intention, it rewards execution. Most people hesitate because they are waiting for perfection. They want the perfect plan, the perfect circumstances, the perfect skills before they start, but perfection is just another form of procrastination. There will never be a perfect time. There will never be a moment when all fear disappears, when all conditions align perfectly, when success is guaranteed. If you wait for certainty, you will wait forever. The most successful people in the world aren't the ones who knew exactly what to do before they started. They are the ones who started, adjusted along the way, and figured it out through action. Taking massive action isn't about just doing a little bit here and there. It's about moving with intensity, with commitment, with a level of determination that leaves no room for failure. It's about burning the boats so that retreat is not an option. Because when you give yourself a way out, when you allow hesitation to creep in, you weaken your power. But when you commit fully, when you decide that failure is not an option, you find a way no matter what. Think about the times in your life when you accomplished something significant. Did it happen because you hesitated, because you dipped your toe in the water and moved cautiously? Or did it happen because you went all in, because you pushed beyond your limits, because you refused to stop until you made it happen? Every major breakthrough in life comes from massive action. It doesn't come from wishing, from planning endlessly, from waiting. It comes from making a decision and moving forward with relentless energy. Massive action also destroys fear. Fear lives in inaction. When you sit still, when you overanalyze, when you let doubt creep in, but when you move, when you take decisive action, fear has no place to live. The mind can't hold fear and momentum at the same time. You've experienced this before. Those moments when you pushed yourself beyond what you thought was possible, when you stepped up despite the uncertainty, when you acted before fear could stop you. And the moment you did, the fear disappeared, because action is the antidote to fear. Momentum. They start, stop, and never gain enough traction to break through. But when you take massive action, when you keep moving forward without slowing down, momentum begins to carry you. Think of a train. It takes enormous energy to get it moving, but once it builds momentum, it's nearly impossible to stop. The same applies to your life, your business, your goals. If you only act when you feel like it, you'll never break through. But if you commit to taking action every single day, even when it's hard, even when you don't feel like it, the momentum becomes unstoppable. One of the most powerful things about massive action is that it creates opportunities that wouldn't exist otherwise. Most people look at success as something that happens to them, as if they're waiting for the right opportunity to come along. But massive action creates opportunities. It puts you in motion, and when you are in motion, new possibilities appear that you could never have predicted. You meet the right people, you gain the right skills, you develop the right insights, but none of that happens if you stay still. You have to take the first step, and then the next, and then the next. And before you know it, you're in a completely different place than where you started. Taking massive action also forces you to push beyond your limitations. Most people set goals and then stop the moment they face resistance. They tell themselves it's too hard, that they don't have what it takes, that maybe it's not meant to be. But massive action means pushing past the resistance. It means doing whatever it takes, not just when it's convenient, but especially when it's uncomfortable. Growth only happens when you push beyond where you thought your limits were. And every time you do, you expand your capacity. What once seemed impossible becomes easy because you've built the muscle of resilience. the habit of taking action despite obstacles. And here's the secret. You don't have to have everything figured out before you start. The biggest mistake people make is thinking they need all the answers before they take action. But the truth is, action is what brings clarity. You learn by doing. You figure it out as you go. No one who ever built something great knew exactly how they were going to do it from the start. They just started. They took a step, and then another, and then another. And with each action, they gained more clarity, more skill, more understanding. The problem is that most people talk themselves out of action. They listen to the voice in their head that says they're not ready, that they're not capable, that they'll fail. But the mind is a liar. It wants comfort, safety, certainty, but nothing great was ever built from a place of comfort. You have to override that voice. You have to take action before you feel ready, because once you do, the fear disappears, the doubt fades, and confidence is built through movement. So what does massive action look like? It means doing more than what's expected. It means not just taking small steps, but making bold moves. It means not just talking about change, but doing whatever it takes to make it happen. It means showing up every day, pushing harder than you thought you could, and refusing to settle for anything less than your full potential.